Halloween-themed games aren't something new. However, the closest things people have had to that would be a small flash game or just a Halloween-themed level in an already existing game, which is sad because with how much content is contained in a theme like Halloween, there's a lot of wasted potential. So this gave me the idea to create a pitch for a full-scale Halloween-themed video game. I'm talking about AAA level game quality. So I created everything from the character designs, level concepts, and overall story of this Halloween game. I'd like to welcome all of you to Monster King. Welcome to another video in Monster Month. As you know, all of the videos for the month of October are going to be Halloween themed. And today we are going to go over Monster King, a fictional game that I made up, and hopefully all of you enjoy. So let's get right into it. The story starts off with a lonely zombie in a field full of other basic zombies. All night long, they wander and mind their own business, but our player zombie has a different idea. Ever since he's got there, he's heard murmurs of the Monster King Dracula, and how he fought his way up to get that title. Our lonely zombie strives to do the exact same thing and overthrow Dracula and become the next Monster King. To do this, he must travel through the monster world and defeat all other kinds of monsters. In his journey, he finds out that he has the ability to add other monster body parts to his own being, making them his own. With this newly found skill, he presses forward to become the next Monster King. I really like the approach of the story because it can be a good message that you don't need to be like everyone else, and just because you feel like you're just another person lost in the crowd, you're still able to do great things. We'll continue the story once we get to the multiple endings, but for now, let's get into the mechanics. When it comes to the genre I want to make this game, my best thought was to make it a platformer. Think of a mix of Mega Man and Castlevania, a side-scrolling platformer with a mix of puzzles the player needs to get through. The levels we will be traversing will be themed after the domain of the specific monster we'll be fighting. So let me quickly go over the different levels and monsters you'll be going up against. First off is the Mummy's Tomb, a desert landscape that is filled with desert houses, dunes, and torches. Once you get past everything, you will meet the mummy in his resting place, and once you beat him, you will obtain the Mummy Grasp. It's a grapple arm that will allow you to swing across different gaps and reach high places. Next up is the Haunted Forest, a windy and rough forest where even though the trees look old and dead, they somehow feel alive in a different way. You'll swing through the cliffs and hills until you finally reach the center tree. Inside, you will need to defeat the werewolf, and once you do, you'll obtain one of his claws. The claw can be used as a forward dash while also damaging anyone ahead of you. The third world is the Frank Factory, a terribly made industrial factory designed to make life out of nothing. Owned by the crazy Dr. Frankenstein, you traverse a lot of quickly made enemies and unsteady platforms only to come face to face with Frankenstein's monster. The first source of life the doctor made, he pilots this monstrosity. Once you beat him, you will get the Bolt Jolt, a head-mounted crown that conducts electricity and can be used to power other machines around the world. Fourth world is the Phantom Graveyard, an open field in appearance but full of dead souls and ghosts ready to pounce, haunt, and attack anyone that crosses them. You'll need to traverse surprises and small hints to get through this dreary stage. Once you get to the end, you will face the Boogeyman himself, a large ghost that anyone would faint in the sight of. However, once you get past him, you'll obtain the Spirit Sprint, a ghost-like cloak that allows the player to become intangible for a brief moment in time. The fifth world is the Murky Swamp, a wet and creepy bayou full of weird noises and unsettling movement. Puddles of water fill the trenches and make you slower when you get trapped in it. After you traverse the Misty Bog, you will need to face the Lagoon Monster. A quick swimmer for his size, you'll need to pull out all of your best timing skills to defeat him. However, once you do beat him, you will get the Swamp Step, a pair of flipper feet that will allow you to walk on water with ease. And finally, the final stage you will be traversing is Dracula's Castle. You must climb a large tower while defeating different kinds of enemies along the way, and if you die just once, you'll be set back to the very bottom. Once you reach the top, you will come face to face with the Monster King himself, Dracula, which is where we get to the big twist. Before I want to talk about that along with the other endings, I want to mention that I also created designs for the different enemies and minions for each of the levels, which each stage you get its own themed minions and enemies. I couldn't find the right place to put this in the video, so I'm giving them their moment to shine here. I mean, look at this little guy. Okay, now on to the endings. So the first ending is the canon ending. After fighting Dracula, you find out that he isn't the actual Monster King, just a cover-up for the real Monster King. And that turns out to be another zombie that did the exact same thing as you years back. You get into a fight with him, and during which the Monster King also attacks Dracula for failing. If the player protects Dracula, then with his dying breath, the player is given a vial of his own blood. The player is given the blessing of lifesteal, making our chances at beating the Monster King way more efficient. Once you inevitably beat him, the Monster King falls apart at your feet and runs away. You take his crown and sit on the throne as the new Monster King. I do like this ending being the canon ending because it's a good combination of a good twist while keeping it simple. It's also here where the player's character learns that being Monster King isn't just a title, it's a job that needs compassion, and if he's going to overthrow the current king, he needs to do better than he ever will. It's a nice and wholesome end. There are also a few other endings, so I will go over those real quick. The hero ending happens when you don't protect Dracula, but still defeat the Monster King. It is possible to beat him still, but it'll be way harder. That ending is for the hardcore players that really want to grind this game. The underling ending is when you join him side by side when he offers it to you after killing Dracula. Nothing really happens in this ending. It's kind of like the same as Cuphead's bad ending where he just joins the devil. And finally, there is the failure ending, where you fail too many times and you are stripped of all of your weapons and body and resorted to a rolling head being kicked by other zombies way back in the zombie field. Obviously, you don't want that ending, so try to get one of the other ones. And that is all the content that we have for our Halloween themed video game. We have a character that strives for greatness and has the ability to do so. He goes on a great adventure while beating enemies along the way, and then finally gets to the threshold of his goal and learns a lesson to become a more compassionate king while helping someone in need. A good and simple story with a nice message included. We have a variety of characters and places that feel creepy yet on brand with the theme, as well as nice mechanics that'll make you really appreciate the theme of Halloween. And that's the game pitch. I really like what we have here, but I think we still have some space to grow in certain aspects. Stuff like hub areas, overworld, maybe some side characters that we can meet along the way, side quests, harder difficulties, you name it. So if you want me to continue this game, then let me know and we can continue this together. If you have suggestions for changes or additions then share them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out the comments for the question of the day. I always love seeing your responses. Also, follow me on Instagram where you can stay updated on when I post and have a say in what videos I make. And in the meantime, make sure to relax today in a spooky way.